Walking, it's one of the best things you could do for your health, bar none, but there's a better way to approach it. Yes, you can just walk, but if you follow the right protocol, it's far more effective. Let's talk about walking.
I can't wait to hear your walking protocol.
Well, there is. There is a protocol. So, and I'll start with the first thing, right? Because just first off, let me start with this. One of the reasons why walking is such a great form of just activity is because it's low risk of injury. Now, some people scoff at that, but the truth is most forms of exercise, people just don't have the skill to perform often. So like running, right? Most people stop running when they're 12. So they 30 years old, they pick up their running shoes, they lace them up and they go for a run. And there's a high risk of injury. Well, walking, most people can still walk, no problems. It's also very convenient. You don't need to change into clothes. Typically you could do it almost anywhere. So it's easier to stay consistent. That being said, I'll give you the first point of your protocol. If you walk post-meal, you get far better benefits from a hormonal standpoint than you do at any other time. Walking post-meal has profound effects on insulin sensitivity and blood sugar levels. And this has lots of downstream effects when it comes to muscle building, fat loss, and just overall health. In other words, walking after meals, you could get as better results from a insulin sensitivity standpoint and health standpoint with half as much walking if you just did it after meals versus at any other time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, this is one of these things too that if you begin to implement this, I think like I always love tips for clients and people that I could get them to implement and they notice a difference right away. Like if the typical person eats and then lounges, right? Sits around either at the table or on the couch and then turns on the TV. If you made it like a habit for just 1 week that, hey, you know what? Every meal I eat, I'm going to make sure right after I eat it, I go for a 5-minute walk, just 5 minutes, go for a walk. You'll feel the difference of your diet. I mean, you will feel a difference on how that food sits on you versus if you like do what you normally do, which is eat and then sit down. So I love this as a tip.
So a couple things, right? So walking, there are hip flexor muscles and core muscles that get activated with every step. They actually move through and around the digestive system. So actually help the digestive process.
Massages the food through.
It massages the food through. It stimulates things, stimulates digestive enzymes. It also standing, right? Gravity helps as well. So you get better digestion. But you also, contracting and relaxing muscle, especially the large muscles of the lower body. And again, this isn't intense. This is just a walk. What that does is essentially suck up the sugar out of your bloodstream that you just produced from eating that meal. You improve insulin sensitivity significantly. I remember interviewing Dr. Seed on the podcast. We brought this up and he said, oh God, if people just walked for 10 minutes after eating, they probably solve most diabetes problems.
Oh, he was all hyped that you brought that up. And it's funny because when you look at like a bodybuilding community or like there was big emphasis on first thing in the morning while you're fasted and, like how would you compare the two of those?
So that's funny you bring that up, Justin, because I was going to wait for Sal to do his 3 tips. And I actually wanted to talk to you guys about that today because if you're going to bring that up as a point in a strategy, because here's the counter argument. Like if I was playing devil's advocate, of the guys are going to be like, well, none of it really matters if calories in. If you eat the same amount of calories,
sure.
If you overeat calories, then you're going to put body fat on. If you undereat calories, you're going to lose weight no matter what, and you're not really increasing that much. And so it would be a moot point to discuss when you're doing that. That to the same point, those same people would say that about getting up first thing in the morning and walking fasted. Although this has always been an incredible strategy for me to lean out is I get up an extra half hour earlier and I include, or I do it after like, let's say an extended period of time of not eating. Like, so if I've been low calorie and I've already exercised and it's been 3-4 hours and I still haven't had a meal, I love to walk for a half hour at that time when I'm completely depleted. My theory on that is that's all my glycogen has been depleted. My body is now having to utilize this fat as its primary source of fuel. I'm walking, so I'm not pushing the body really hard, but I am kicking up a tiny bit more of the kilocalories that it's using to burn by the minute. And I'm primarily tapping into fat because I'm completely depleted.
That was always the bodybuilding theory. Now, when they do this, when they do studies on, they've done a lot of studies on this, comparing one to the other. It doesn't help the fat loss process. However, I think what's happening, especially when people wake up and walk first, is I think it's doing two things. One, it's adding extra steps, but two, there's a behavioral effect from starting your day out with some form of exercise.
Right.
And we see this across the board. When people do something pro-health,
sets the tone. Yeah.
first thing, it tends to affect the rest of their behavior.
That's the other thing that I would attribute to that. And we don't measure it like that, right? Because they'll measure the 1 hour and then they'll be like, oh, in the total day, it didn't burn that much more body fat. But I would make the case of a day I sleep in an hour versus a day I get up and walk for an hour. Not only do I get the extra steps, to your point, but I also find that I just move more all throughout the day because I'm more motivated, more active.
Well, it's interesting. I heard, because this is mainly coming from like the wellness side, right? Like in terms of like walking after meals, when I feel like the amount of calories like bodybuilders are consuming, and to be able to digest and to be able to retain and synthesize, like it makes a lot more sense to me to go in that direction.
So we're not talking about fat loss here. What we're talking about, because fat loss comes from a calorie deficit. You can burn body fat. You're going to get that largely from diet. Don't try to walk just to burn extra calories. This is a health thing. We're trying to promote better health.
Well, just better digestion.
But insulin sensitivity helps with fat loss. It also helps with muscle building. See, when your body is more sensitive to insulin, that means you're going to shuttle more glycogen and amino acids into your muscle, and you're less likely to store body fat. So you get this double-edged positive sword, if you will. So you want insulin sensitivity. And if you're bulking, you want to walk after your meals as well. Walking after meals when you're bulking means more of that food is likely to go into your muscle bellies than it is just kind of swirl around in your bloodstream, and then allow your blood sugar levels to stay high and insulin to start to become resistant to it. So walking after meals is like this pro-health, and then yes, downstream it can help with fat loss and muscle building, but mainly it just makes you healthy by maintaining that insulin sensitivity, which has been connected to so many chronic health issues. Next is walk leisurely. I think one of the big mistakes people make when they're like, I'm going to start walking,
power walk.
I'm going to treat it like a workout. I'm going to go and just, I'm going to go do real hard.
2.5 pound dumbbells,
hips
swinging the arms.
There's, first off, no, don't do that. Like we're talking about, first off, forget about the calorie burn. I know everybody gets caught up on that. I'm going to burn extra calories by walking. Your body adapts to that pretty rapidly. That effect you'll lose somewhat at some point, but it's the health effect, and walking leisurely is very pro-recovery.
Yes.
It's meditative. It's healthy for the body. And most people, if they walk leisurely, are more likely to do it consistently than if I take the average person and tell them to push themselves when they walk. They're just more likely to go do it because it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable activity. It's very, very good for you.
Oh, yeah. It's way more prone to recovery. And I mean, would you say it's slightly parasympathetic? Because you are moving, but at the same time, if it's low enough, it's very parasympathetic.
Oh, yeah. You do a hard leg workout that requires a lot of recovery. Go on a nice leisure walk. You'll recover faster in your lower body than you would if you had not done that at all.
Well, more blood, more oxygen, more nutrients.
That's right. And it's not intense. And
that's right. Crazy. Yeah, you're not pushing it. You're not straining it. You're not breaking down anymore. All you're doing is facilitating recovery because you're pumping more blood, more oxygen, more nutrients.
That's all that circulation. Yeah,
that's right. Beneficial. And you're helping to shuttle again the glycogen, those sugars and amino acids into your muscle that you just ate, right? Lastly, combine this walk with something that's pro-growth. Here's a tip around this, okay? When you're trying to create a new behavior, a new habit, this is very important. People completely miss this. They look at creating a new habit and they forget that this is very important. This is actually the most important thing. Find a way to make it enjoyable. Yeah. If you can make it enjoyable, the odds that you'll maintain this new habit are far higher than if it's not as enjoyable. So one of the best things you could do is combine your walk with something that's pro-growth and that's enjoyable. This is a great time to listen to a podcast, to a book, to listen to some kind of music that's uplifting, something that's when you do both at the same time.
Meditative, Brain FM is a good one for that.
Oh, you'll find that this is something to look forward to, after breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I found this. I talked a lot about this when we first had Max. I found this as a very good time to connect with my wife. Which is pro-growth, right? So, this was like an opportunity for us to go without our cell phones, to walk outside nature. We were pushing Max a lot of time in the stroller early on, and her and I would spend an hour just walking and talking and connecting and getting caught up on our day. And so I found that as a really valuable time and schedule. It was easy, right? It's like we make this, oh yeah, I talked to my wife. Well, you do. A lot of times you can do that in passing and, oh, did you go to the grocery store? Oh, did you have this? But how often do you put a 15-minute, 20 or an hour long walk where it's just you and her or you and your spouse, and you have this ability to connect with no devices, no distractions, and just talk. And I think that part was extremely valuable. Yeah. It's something that we've always tried to keep up in our relationship.
Yeah, but like difficult pets like me, it's a good saving grace. Get them outside and get their activity expended.
Yeah. So three. Like if you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like most people, 10 minutes after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 30 minutes of walking, you will greatly impact your blood sugar levels and your insulin sensitivity. And you just do that consistently and listen to something cool while you're doing it. I mean, it'll become something you look forward to.
It's also such a great place. I mean, it's so funny because I know we've talked about this so many times in the podcast that this was an area that we probably all scoffed at our clients early on.
Oh, God. I said so much stupid stuff.
Being a 20-year-old thinking that, oh, that's so silly. Like that's it. But
you're even sweating.
It's such a great place for most people to start.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think about all my every year around this time, I sit around tables with family members who all feel compelled to tell me that this is going to be the different year of health for them, and they're going to start doing this, and they found this thing they're going to do. And it's like, I always tell them, like, listen, just start by walking, and I normally give them like protein or a small food thing to accomplish. Like cut out this one thing, or just go after protein and just walk. Make it a habit that you walk after the meals, and just build off of that. Like once you get that right already, will start moving you in the right direction. And you'll start feeling better. You'll gain some minutes. And then we'll talk about adding a workout and then adding a second workout. I just didn't think that way when I was in my 20s to coach people that way. It was like all or nothing. Like it was always about how fast can we get the results you're telling me that you want. And it was like, well, here's all the things we need to do if you want to lose 15 pounds in that amount of time. Versus me thinking like, hey, I'm going to get you to your 15 pounds. But more importantly, I'm going to help you build something that is going to be sustainable for the rest of your life. So that's the older, wiser trainer who now would go the opposite. Like someone tells me, oh, I could do all these things. It's like, no. I don't want you to do that yet. All I want you to do is this and build routines and habits around that. And then we can always add to that.
Awesome. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, I have a free guide that teaches you how to lose fat in 3 steps, just 3 steps that will burn the most amount of body fat and help keep it off. This guide is totally free. We're giving it to everybody right now. If you want it, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show. Did you guys ever watch the movie? I read something earlier today. It totally reminded me of this movie. You ever watch the movie Real Genius from the 80s? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
You remember that Val Kilmer?
Vaguely, yeah.
It's like a bunch of like super smart.
I can barely remember that movie.
Oh, it was one of my favorite movies, to be honest with you. I loved it. So it's like really, really smart geniuses, and this one kid, super young, he's like one of the smartest people in the country, and they get sent to this like school for geniuses. And Val Kilmer's in there, and they designed like this laser.
What did they make? It was a laser.
They made a laser, and the military tried to take it, and they're like, they don't like that. It was going to be used to whatever. This one right here.
Dude, I remember. I do remember.
Bro, it's such a great movie. All right, so there's a scene in it that reminds me of a story I read. So you remember the guy that? Do you remember that there was a dude that lived in their closet and they didn't even know? That weird guy that comes out or whatever. Okay, it's a funny part of the movie. Anyway, this actually happened. Not that. But something like that.
So he was like living in the room somewhere?
Bro, check
like
this out.
Like the guy on the couch?
No, check this out. There was I don't remember what year it was. I got to see what year it was. But there's a gentleman who in Japan, he was noticing that food was kind of disappearing from his pantry and stuff. And like stuff was happening. And he's like, am I sleep eating? Am I like, what's going on? Well, anyway, he set up hidden cameras. There was a homeless girl. Maybe Doug, you could look this up. Look up Japanese man.
I've heard something similar to this.
Homeless woman living in his closet. This homeless girl would sleep on this top shelf in his closet that you couldn't see. And when he'd go to bed or leave, she'd kind of sneak out. Yeah, dude, he caught her on camera. You imagine that, bro?
That's terrifying.
You imagine on a camera some person walks in.
You have no idea they're just like living amongst you.
Yeah, dude. And she was eating his food, and
this happened as another lady was caught living in a treehouse, like at this person's property.
Year.
This was a whole year.
A year?
I've heard it was a very similar story.
They might even have pictures of the hidden camera. The one that I had.
Please tell me they have a picture of where and how.
Okay, so they do if you find another link.
I mean, can you guys even imagine? Is there anywhere on your property or your house where this would even be possible?
I mean, everybody, right? Everybody's got that.
No, I can't imagine that anywhere in my house.
Oh yeah, look at that, bro. Look at the hidden camera.
Where you don't go, like, is there a space?
You'd have to have a space.
I mean, like in the attic for me, like if
you're most likely because you have the property that has more like stuff and land, like one of those sheds or something. Maybe.
Yes. Bro, okay, so we got rid of those sheds. When I first moved there, it was like there was 2 of those shipping containers and then like 1 shed, and the shed was creepy. It was like it was there for like groundskeeper or whatever. And they had just made it, and the first like front of it was normal, like tools and all that kind of stuff. But then after that, you realized, oh, it was like blocked off, but you could see there was like this back entrance.
Huh?
Yeah.
What was in there?
There was all these weird like messages. Like there was a scorned woman that was like, "Oh, you did this, that to me," and like all these like explicitives.
Justin's in a haunted
house. It was in a
yes, dude.
It was it was in the shed, and like I ended up just like taking it down.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I
was like, this got bad juju, dude. I don't want it. Yeah, and then I told you guys about the fire. And
yes,
all that
dude.
Yeah. So it's a little dicey. There's some weird shit going on. We need some holy water.
Look at the picture of the hidden camera. How scary that it's your house. Someone.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, look at her hair. Yeah, that's freaky.
That is.
It's like that movie, The Ring. You know.
What was that other movie where there's a whole family that's living in the basement?
Oh, that Korean movie.
Yes, it was a Korean movie.
Oh,
it was
Parasite.
Parasite. Yeah.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, the whole family. There was a whole family living underneath the house.
So now we know where they got their inspiration. Can't you imagine that for a year? All the things that he was like, he thought he was alone. There's someone in his closet.
He's like, what? She comes up. What did we buy today?
I mean, a whole year is crazy that she figured out a way to.
It would be cool if there was a happy ending, like he married her later.
You know what? You can stay.
Yeah. It's like, but you're beautiful. You know? That'd be awesome.
I mean, just super
the Disney
clever of a homeless person to figure out how.
As I was reading the story, he was going crazy because he thought he was sleep eating.
Oh,
he would go to doctors, couldn't figure it out. Imagine the gas.
Like, I know there was a piece of cake in here.
You feel like you're losing your mind the whole time. You know. Anyway,
I mean, you wonder too, like how much excess we have as Americans, how easily that part would get by. Like that part, I would have a hard time. Just like if you stole a peanut butter and jelly sandwich a day, a handful of nuts, some creatures of habit protein. I mean, there's a lot of things in my cabinets that like if 1, 2 were missing every day, easily it could get by me.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, I don't know where you'd hide in my house where I wouldn't know, but you could definitely go through my pantry.
Get mad at your kids.
Yeah.
Who ate my ice cream?
Oh my God. Katrina had this moment yesterday with Max. She felt so bad too, because she's like, he has yet to do anything where we felt like he's been deceitful or hiding or do something like that.
He's just really good, bro. That's
he built a gingerbread house, and it was like this was the night before last, and he had done it over the weekend with his aunt. And the gingerbread house has got the little sprinkles and the sugar plum things or whatever, like a normal gingerbread house, right? And Katrina's told him like this is decor, don't eat it or like that. Now when he got to put it together, his aunt let him have a handful of them or like that. But after that, it was like, this is decor, don't mess with it, right? And it was the night before last, and Katrina comes down around the corner from the kitchen, and he's in the kitchen, and he like ducks behind the counter, and she could tell like that was abnormal for him. Like she goes, "What are you doing?" And he's like nothing, and she's like, "Did you touch it?" And she starts like, "Maximus, come here." And so she's totally like, "Listen to me, you don't hide things from mommy. If you did that. How do you know that I wouldn't tell you could have that? There's no reason." So she was all concerned, right? So she's this big old lecture on him, and he's like, he feels so guilty, and she comes over to go look at it and go like, "Well, where did you? She can't find where she took it." And he's like, he took like a little sprinkle,
Oh
like,
God, poor kid.
Yeah, dude, it was like I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my poor son. Like, he took him through this whole like, guilt trip of like not communicating to him and everything like that.
Kid.
He felt so bad that he didn't say anything to his mom.
Sprinkle.
And then she goes over to like, because she was thinking it was missing like one of the gumdrops or something like that. It was like little, like, and he goes, one of the sprinkles had fallen off. And
it fell off.
Yeah, and it fell off.
Poor kid.
Wow. And he felt guilty.
Yeah. He felt so bad. I'm like, man, I said,
he gets a bag of candy.
oh my God.
You know what, buddy?
Yeah, I know. I was like,
have
oh,
an ice
honey.
cream
I was
day.
like,
Yeah.
she's like, she goes, I didn't get really mad at him, but I was like disappointed, and I definitely lectured him
Oh,
about,
poor guy.
you know, you don't hide things from mommy.
Fell off.
You
It's on the floor. He ate it.
Yeah, it was totally like that, dude. It was totally like and then she just timed it around the corner, and so he knew he wasn't supposed to, and so he was just kind of like froze. And then here she thought he was sneaking things off of it, and it was like he really didn't. And then because he didn't say anything right away, Katrina's like, "You don't hide from mommy. You tell mommy everything."
Cute
And
kid.
yeah. So I was like, "Oh, I felt so bad for him that he's this is like his new thing right now, and I don't know what phase this is or whatever, but he's pieced that together. If you're disappointed in him or upset, and like he'll ask it like, Daddy, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? No, I'm not mad at you. Just you need to do this, or you need to do that, or like that. But he's been doing that a lot lately, where he's questioning if the things that he's doing or not doing is okay, and if he's in trouble and stuff like that. But it's never anything. Like he hasn't done anything really bad.
So innocent. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
man.
he's so freaking innocent. I feel so bad. I mean, I already know, like,
phase,
we're far enough along now, 5 years in. Like, I'm very aware where my challenge is going to be. He's such a good kid. He's like, I'm gonna be the dad who has to deal with the kid who's probably either bullying him, or like he's gonna be the sensitive kid. He's gonna be the kid who's so nice, and so having grit. Pushing through adversity, that's going to be the thing that I know that we're going to have to work through, and we're going to challenge, because he's such a damn good kid that I'm not going to have to.
Yeah,
I've never raised my voice.
Instincts are going to really come in.
Yeah, so that's going to be probably the hardest thing for me, is allowing that to kind of organically happen, and then knowing where to insert myself and coach up, and so. I mean, we've been okay so far, and I haven't had to really deal with it yet, but I'm almost certain that that's the thing that we're going to be challenged with, because he's such a good kid that I already know that I'm not going to have to worry about him being bad.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's his level of bad, is like something like that. That's literally like, that's the worst thing this kid does. It's like, come on, I know it's not going to be that. It's going to be the other thing where he's super sensitive.
I tell you guys about the one time I had a staff member, one of my employees, I should say, took a protein bar. And I sat them down because I knew they did. So this was at one of the gyms I managed. I sat them down. I had my operations manager in there. And I did this whole talk about like the integrity of our team and how we don't, whatever. And this person starts crying and starts admitting to all kinds of shit I had no idea about. Like,
well, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
And I had to act like I knew, because I made it seem like I knew. Like, I know what's happening. You have an opportunity to admit it to what you did.
Yeah.
And they were
out came all this other stuff.
I'm giving away kids club and I'm selling them for cash. I took this. And I'm like,
God.
oh yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah. What else? In my head, I'm like, oh my God, bro. I thought you took a bar.
Right. I'm gonna take notes.
Yeah, dude. They were like, my operations manager thought I was a genius. She's like, how did you get her to do it?
Yeah.
You're a master interrogator.
That was some CIA shit right there that I did.
Oh my God,
crazy.
dude.
Hey, I got to tell you guys something, a huge plus for Vuori. So have you guys ever heard of the problem with a lot of athleisure wear called pilling? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
No.
where like the yoga pants, they're really comfortable, like but then they start to get those little balls of fabric.
Okay.
They kind of bunch up.
Super common. Doug, if you look up I
know you're talking about. I've had pants that have done that before. My Vuori don't do that though.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. So when you go online, there's now lots of articles on comparing athleisure wear companies. That's the biggest criticism of other companies is that their fabric's nice, whatever, but it just doesn't last long. It costs lots of pilling. Vuori doesn't do that. Vuori's actually ranked as some of the highest quality, longest lasting athleisure wear.
I'm actually, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, so much of my clothes
These are old.
I've beat the hell out of all my.
Yep. I've had these for a couple years now, and they're the same condition.
Yep.
So
yeah, and that's a huge plus for people, because especially when you talk to women who wear lots of yoga pants, they'll complain about it all the time. Like, I hate that this.
I didn't know there was a name for that.
Pilling.
Yeah, me either.
I know exactly.
My wife always talks about it, because she used to wear lots of Lulu, and she's I liked it, but I hate the fact that it pill. I hear them talking about it. So today, before we did the episode, I looked up reviews of different athleisure wear companies, and that was where Vuori killed everybody.
Yeah,
it was the highest quality.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh
so,
wow.
I don't know.
Awesome.
So
isn't that cool?
Yeah, they're so good.
Earlier we were talking about walking for insulin sensitivity. There's a study that I just read on body fat and its connection to Alzheimer's, but there's one kind of body fat in particular that is much more strongly correlated to dementia and Alzheimer's than other types of body fat.
Type of body fat?
Visceral.
Oh.
Visceral body fat. So visceral body fat had like a 77% higher correlation, I think, I hope I'm using the right statistic, because I read it earlier, to Alzheimer's. So now this
what's the thought process?
Well, visceral body fat is much more strongly connected to insulin resistance. So like you can have, if you store body fat that it's not visceral
and stuff, is that what
it's more inflammatory. Like this is the body, you always hear this right from the medical community now. Visceral body fat connected to cancers and heart disease and all. That's the damaging, they'll call it the damaging body fat. Now, all body fat in tons of excess isn't good for you. The visceral is the worst. That's the one that's closely related to all kinds of chronic issues. It's also the more insulin resistance you have, the more visceral body fat you'll store. In other words, if you had a pair of twins,
so it's directly related to
you had a pair of twins gain the same amount of body fat, but one of them have insulin resistance, the other one be insulin sensitive. The one with insulin resistance will have more visceral body fat.
Now, is it possible for the same person, or comparing two people, let's say, that both put on 10 pounds of body fat and one of them put 8 pounds of visceral, the other one only put 4 pounds of visceral? Are there specific choices and behaviors that one made that the other didn't make in order for that to happen?
It's all about insulin sensitivity. So like the best thing you could do exercise wise, build muscle. Like building muscle is very
So does that mean, okay, so then,
protective
and
for
I'm
that.
trying to think of trying to give the audience an example of okay, how do I avoid that? So two people overeat and they both put on
That's
body
right.
fat. One of them strength trains. The other one doesn't strength
That's
train.
right.
That person who doesn't strength train is most likely going to put, and they both put on, let's say,
Same body fat.
Same body fat.
Right.
But the one who's strength training, because of what that does for insulin sensitivity,
That's right.
and the benefits of building muscle,
Less visceral.
they'll have less visceral fat.
That's right. So when
Okay.
you see the studies on
So just overeating and being lazy and not exercising, not strength training is setting you up for having.
That's right. Or to give you a different example, two people both walking for 30 minutes a day, both eating the same calories, both getting body fat. One of them does it post-meal. The other one doesn't. The one doing it post-meal theoretically would have less visceral body fat because of the insulin sensitizing effects. And again, now why am I talking about this? Alzheimer's, like researchers, some researchers will call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes.
Yep.
There's a very strong correlation between dementia and Alzheimer's and insulin resistance because the brain runs off of glucose as well. And when your brain, think about a computer, right? And you have a computer, it's got this much power, this much memory, it works this well. And then you take the power source and you trickle in some power here and there. It's just not going to work as well. This is what happens, what they think is happening with the brain. And this is why people with Alzheimer's and dementia, you'll see a temporary improvement in cognitive function when they go keto. Because you go keto, you're bringing the glucose way down and you're having you're using more ketones, which kind of bypass that to an extent. It's not the cure, but that's probably what's happening.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So visceral body fat, that's the connection. It's also connected more to heart disease and cancers and all that other stuff.
I mean, it's just funny because I feel like if you are just strength training 2 times a week, lifting weights to be strong.
Oh God, you do that and you walk a little bit after your meals. It's like you've done
so much.
Massive. Yes. Hey, sorry to interrupt you. Look, are you lifting weights, eating a ton of food and struggling? You're not packing on any muscle. You're not building any muscle at all. You're not getting stronger. Well, check it out. We have a hard gainer guide. This can be your ultimate resource to turn that around. Pack on some muscle mass with our hard gainer guide. It's totally free. You can get it by downloading it, clicking on the link in the description below.
Because what people have to understand, I was trying to explain this to my family too, like the power of strength training. And because a lot of them were doing things like the turkey trot, right? There's this tradition around like Thanksgiving going for this crazy, what is it? It's like a 5K run or whatever like that. I'm all, you would be far better off getting a heavy lifting session right before, right? Yeah. And I explained to them that's because you get the 5K, and I don't ever want to tell my family don't do 5Ks. It's like, cool, it's great, you guys are all doing exercise, but you'd be far better off lifting some weights because when you run or you burn calories manually, the minute you're done doing that activity, the benefits end. That's it. benefits of that are over. You got the extra calorie burn, the exercising the heart. Like, there you go. It was great for you. Awesome. The cool part about lifting weights is you get similar, not as high because you're not burning as much benefits from lifting the weights. But then for the next 24 to 48 hours, your body is trying to recover from that training and is trying to adapt to that signal that you just sent. And so now if same two people, one decide to go do the run, the other person decide to go lift weights, and then they both decide to eat the same at turkey and overconsume and have some extra pie and eat an extra 1,000 calories, the person who strength trained, a good portion of those calories are going to get allocated over to building muscle.
To put it differently, if you worked out, let's say twice a week for 30 minutes with strength training, let's say you start out sedentary, you don't work out at all. And then you're like, I'm going to start lifting weights, and you start working out 30 minutes twice a week, and you do a good job. You do good programming. Let's say you have a good trainer coach. Maybe you're following one of our programs. You'll build 5 pounds of muscle. I mean, most people will build at least 5 pounds of muscle. That 5 pounds of muscle that you gain from the 2 30-minute workouts will do more for your insulin sensitivity than 30 minutes every single day of cardio. Okay? So that's how much more efficient and effective it is. Muscle has this very protective effect in which you could be sedentary sitting with that extra muscle, and then it has this kind of insulin sensitizing effect and this pro-youth hormone effect, and it's just more efficient, meaning you put less time in, you get more.
Well, I like pitching the way I was saying, because I'm like, no matter what, if you overconsume, right, and you overconsume your calorie maintenance, some of that's getting stored. But if you have strength trained, some of that will actually go to building muscle. Yeah. Not all of it's going to get prioritized to being stored as body fat. Whereas if you didn't strength train, you can guarantee that any of those extra calories are all going stored as body fat. And so there's just like, it's this sweet buffer for even trying to figure out, because that's one of the challenging places for a lot of people is like, exactly how many calories do I eat? Like, where am I supposed to be? And they're so concerned about under eating calories. There's less of that concern about under eating your calories if you're strength training. If you're strength training and you go over a little bit on your calories, a good portion of that should get partitioned over to building muscle.
The only time I've ever in my entire life seen somebody eat more calories and get leaner was because they were strength training. Yes. That happens quite a bit because
even the genetic anomalies, like they had just a regular routine of weightlifting. The ones I knew. Yeah, it was very evident. I was going to ask you, because you brought up Alzheimer's, and like one of the biggest things that got me on this kick of like trying to figure out this whole heartburn issue I've had like chronically forever because of the PPIs, the proton pump inhibitors. And I saw the research with that and how they were like associating that with the, potentially creating, dementia or like Alzheimer's or accelerating you towards that. And so I was like, I've been trying all these different supplements and everything else, but like why? Like, why is that? Do you know why they found that is one of those sort of like epigenetic sort of like factors?
Yeah, I had no idea. Actually, I have no idea why. I bet, Doug, you could find PPIs in connection to dementia. I wonder if they have an effect on insulin sensitivity.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's... I was
trying to think that might be...
But I'm not quite sure what the inhibitors for these proteins... Because it makes your body produce less acid. Mm-hmm. But what else is happening through that?
I have no idea what that even is.
These are like heartburn medication.
It's like Pepsid AC or that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's the actual term for it is proton pump. What did you call it?
Proton pump inhibitors.
Yeah, so you could either, you could take something like Tums, which is basically just an antacid, so it just kind of buffers the acid temporarily, or you could take these, which make your body produce less acid. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty effective. But I don't know why it would cause it. But yeah, that is something.
Okay. Well, look at neurological side effects right there. PUAs cause neurological side effects like headaches, dizziness, and vertigo.
Wow, serious side effects. Chronic use can cause depression.
Yeah, because I was on those for like at least 2 years. Like I was like pretty consistently taking it. And I know, and my dad actually, he was able to absolve all his issues when he went to CPAP. And so he didn't have any issues with that anymore, which I was like,
if you have sleep apnea.
Yeah. Didn't you order a new toy?
Yeah, so it's not a toy, it's a sleep apnea. You want to know, did I tell you guys that
you just make him in a Darth Vader mask and then I might actually wear one?
It's like shit, man. But
you can like role play with it.
No. Hey honey. It's got weird. Did I tell you guys that, I don't know if I said this on the show, you can't get one I don't know if it's in different states, if it's different. We're in California. You can't get one without a prescription.
Oh, really?
No. I went online.
It's like black market. So funny.
So this is so stupid regulatory capture crap. It's a CPAP machine. It's not a medication. It's not a drug. And I'm like, I'll pay out of pocket.
Why do you need a doctor?
So I go online and I'm like, here, I'll buy it cash. They're like, oh, send in your prescription. I don't care if my insurance covers it or not. I want to buy it. I want it right now, right? So no, you have to have a prescription. Oh, by the way, our doctor will call you on whatever date and then they'll do it for. I'm like, this is all to protect. Yeah, like to limit the amount of competition.
Yeah,
with that market.
So some other brand can't come in and make it for $200 and outcompete them, right?
Yeah.
So dumb, dude.
Yeah. No, that's irritating.
I tell you what,
I'm like,
that's a barrier. That's
the type of
immediately
stuff
a
that makes me
barrier.
want to do black market shit. Like when I see
Black market
yeah,
You know
when
how
I
many
see
times
something like that,
Kaiser's
I'm like,
called
let's
me?
run a black market CPAP machines, bro. Those things are expensive.
Hell, bro, like $1,000.
We could sell for $500 on the black market all day. Yeah. All day. The back of Doug's van.
Side hustle, yeah.
Call people. Yeah.
Imagine going to jail for that.
Just got a trench coat full of them, dude.
How weak you would sound in jail.
Yeah.
What are you here for?
Yeah. CPAP hustling.
CPAP.
It sounds actually sounds like some sort of a drug. Yeah. It was a big CPAP dealer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Filling the streets with CPAP.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This is known worldwide.
No, but I ordered one because I had one before. It was uncomfortable on my face and whatever. And so, but I got a new one.
Did it come in yet?
And no, it hasn't come in yet. And I talked to them about it. And so I got like this thing for the mask and whatever. I guess, yeah, okay, it's fine. My nose does get hurt from it. Maybe it's because it's beaky, like you said.
Did you have this Google search that? CPAP for beaky face?
Really pointy
Is that your Google
edges.
Unless you guys wear them.
I actually kind of want to try one just to see if I notice
Well,
it.
here's the deal. The reason why I stopped is because it did hurt the bridge of my nose and it would cause these like pressure marks, but I slept hard.
I mean,
Like I'd fall asleep and wake up in the same position, which,
Bro, if you get good deep sleep, that's such a good feeling.
oh, it's the best feeling. Dude.
Yeah, so
You're in a good mood. You know,
I want to try one to see if I notice anything from it. I see a huge difference in just the nose strips. If I put nose strips on,
Those do nothing for me.
those totally help. It's like night and day difference. Like that, I can.
Pillows, guys. Pillows.
You know what I do know too, though. Here, so you know,
I got so many messages about that.
About your pillows.
So I've been super dialed right for the last 3 months diet wise, and so this whole thing ended. So one of the first things I treated myself with was like an ice cream dessert. And
was it in your bathtub with the bubbles?
Yes, totally. Yes.
It was.
No, it was. It was. I thought about it though. I did.
For sure.
Yeah,
I knew it.
thought, should I draw a breath with this or was next time? But no, here the point of me bringing that up. This is one of my favorite things about doing stuff like this, right? And being really consistent with diet things that I always pick up little things like this. So I have the little. It was just a small portion of ice cream, but I enjoyed it, and totally. I think my diet was so clean, everything like that. It sat on my gut fine. I digested it, but what I noticed was congestion.
Oh yeah.
And
food
the reason why only because I've been so consistent and I know how my breathing has been. I hadn't had to wear my nose strip at night and like that. And I had that ice cream. Oh, it was so amazing. Went down and I'm laying in bed and I'm laying there and I'm just like, oh man, I need my nose strip. And I went, oh shit. I wonder if that's because I just had that ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, 100% it was that.
Totally.
So, but
What is it about Mexican cheese, by the way? Because that always gets me like super phlegmy.
it's because
Hold on.
you've had an intolerance to cheese for fucking 20 years. So you just
no
don't wanna
other
know.
cheese does that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
None of it.
Listen,
It's just
we-
that
the
one.
The difference,
We work
between,
with you.
the difference between you and I is I'm not in denial about my shit.
I'm not in denial. I went through that already, dude.
We hear the fireworks, bro. Every time you eat dairy, bro. Hey, listen. All joking aside, maybe
you guys.
it's not the Mexican cheese. Maybe it's because it's on a spicy ass burrito. Like, do you ever eat it by itself?
Yeah, well, it's just every time I have that specific cheese, I get like all this like I hawk it up like, after I'm done, dude.
Bro, you're such a champion. You still fucking power through.
I'm till
You're
day I
like, fuck
die,
it.
bro.
You're
It's
like,
like
it's too good.
It is.
He lets nothing
I
I
don't
mean, where we? This is
I've
where,
done it
where I
without
can
it
connect
for-
to you. I relate to you because I tell you
Dude,
what, there's-
6 months
I'll
I
eat that
did
ice
without
cream
it,
and I
dude.
know it's gonna fuck my sleep up now. I'm just like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
That was 6 months. It was unenjoyable. I was a bear and an asshole to everybody. So I was like, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it.
Your wife's the one that gave you the cheese, honey. Just
She's
eat the
like,
fucking.
just fucking eat it.
You're annoying the hell out of all the kids right now.
I'll take the punishment.
When I notice things like that though, that are that subtle, right away I think of my clients and people that we help and stuff like that. It's like, how many people do not pick up on that?
No idea. You know how many times I had a client who would have heartburn or have some other issue that was chronic, and then I'd say, well, maybe it's the whatever you eat every day. Like, why eat it every day? I'm fine. I'm like, let's cut it out and see. They're like, oh my God, I had no idea it was the whatever.
Yeah.
It used to happen all the time. It'll crack me
And
up.
it can manifest in different ways on people. So if you have an autoimmune, it can be expressed that way. If you, like me, with my allergies and sinus, I get congested.
Skin issues.
You can just see bloated. You can be just kind of holding a little bit of water, but then you feel good. Like, I mean, I ate that ice cream. There was nothing bad. I didn't feel bad. The only thing that I noticed was like, oh my God, my congestion.
So my wife will react to gluten. So, by the way, you're not always as, another point here, sometimes you're more sensitive to something you have an intolerance to, and sometimes you're less sensitive to it. And this also fools people as well.
Yeah.
Because
there's like an immediate reaction, there's a long-term one.
Yeah, you could eat dairy and sometimes be like, I'm okay. And then if you just keep pushing make it cumulative.
That's the long-term one for me.
I've connected the dots on this stuff too. Again, from dieting consistently and noticing this stuff. When I'm in a really good deficit where I'm definitely like low cal, right, for say 5 days in a row, and I enjoy something that my body has the intolerance doesn't bother me.
No.
But if I'm at a calorie maintenance or surplus and I throw that treat on or I throw that thing on, my body will tell me right away. So you got to know that people get fooled because
they get fooled because like I ate it yesterday.
Yeah, I ate it and I was fine, didn't feel anything like that. It's like, okay, well, yeah, when your body is really low calorie and that's the only fuel it got, it powered through that shit and you didn't see any of the adverse effects. But when you're already at a surplus, your body's got what it needs, and then you pile that on top of it, then it goes, oh shit, we don't like this.
So my wife is sensitive to gluten, but sometimes she'll eat it and it's like, maybe it's bothering me, maybe it's not. Other times when she was pregnant, for example, if she had a little bit of gluten, she'd get a migraine within minutes. Wow. She would eat it, go in, and she'd get a migraine. Other times it was like joint pain. Neurological type symptoms are actually one of the more common food intolerance symptoms from gluten. And then other times she eat it and she'll notice nothing. But she's consistently sensitive to gluten for something. So this is something you need to know about yourself as well, because I fool myself all the time with certain things. I'll eat it and be like, I'm fine, no problem. And then I'll eat it 2 or 3 times in a row, and then.
And this is why I'm such an advocate for tracking and measuring for a while. It's mainly for this type of stuff, because when it's really hard to tell any stuff when you're so inconsistent. If you're all over the map on your diet and you don't ever run periods of your life where you're like, you know what, I'm going to be real consistent with this. I'm going to track these things. I'm going to eat at these calories. I'm going to eat these foods. And then you allow these things to come in and out. It's a lot easier to parse this out. It's a lot easier.
It is. And that's why, what you were talking about being in a deficit, it's a good idea to avoid foods that you're reactive to anyway, but especially when you're reverse dieting or in a bulk.
Right.
When you're trying to eat in a surplus, it's more important to eat foods that digest easy, because otherwise the inflammatory aspect
spikes that inflammatory response.
Way up. And this is me. If I'm eating in a surplus or I'm trying to build muscle, I'll narrow in much more to the foods that I know don't bother me.
I mean, I'm convinced that this is either where all my intolerances came from, or definitely where my autoimmune issues came from, was me eating in a bulk and shuttling all those foods.
Same.
Yeah, because not only was I eating in a
whey protein,
and then I'm piling that on
milk. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I'm like. That was.
I drink a gallon of milk a fucking day, dude.
You know what? I meant to bring up on the show, since we're talking about this, because I forgot I wanted to talk about, because I did find this interesting during this whole process of tracking again too, and doing the body fat percentage. You've brought this up quite a bit. I'd have to say that this was the first time that I ever really tested it. Even my competing days, I don't think I really realized how little of a calorie surplus I needed to build muscle.
Yeah.
I have, even today, what I know now, like I think I was still overestimating how much of a surplus I needed. I think I've told myself forever, I got to be like 1,000 calorie, 1,500 plus. No, I'm barely over maintenance. Even like kind of just hitting maintenance is enough for me to have some surpluses that cause muscle gain.
Yeah, if you
especially if you're hitting protein intake.
That's right.
If you're hitting that consistently, which I was. Yep. I could hover right around like 2,500 to 3,000 calories, which is low for me.
No, the reason why people get fooled is, first off, if you send a good, effective muscle building signal and your body wants to build muscle, it only needs a little extra. You're not building 5 pounds of muscle in a day. It only needs a little extra in order to support that. So you don't need to eat a ton. Now, the reason why people get fooled is there's a slight anabolic effect from lots of calories which is offset by the fat gain anyway. And then the other one is you're stronger when you eat a lot of calories. And this is from glycogen and water and how the joints feel. And so this will fool you as well. Like I could oftentimes get someone stronger from 2 days of eating lots of calories. They didn't build muscle. It's all that extra energy. And so this used to fool me as a kid is I'd bump my calories up. Plus I would weigh myself. So if I gained weight, if it was water weight, then I counted it.
It's like a bonus. Like, yeah. Did I tell you guys I put an order in with PRX for the Halo arms?
Oh, those are sick.
You're getting them?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Have you ever seen those?
So those
are, I didn't know they're called Halo arms.
That's the PRX name.
Yeah, like
so they're jammer arms are what you would refer to.
I didn't even think they were called that either. I mean, they really the origin of those were like football stuff, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what it came from?
Yep. Yeah, Hammer Strength used to put them on their cages.
Yeah, you saw them at some of the bigger schools. Like you'd see them in the weight room and some of the players using those. And I was always like curious to experiment with them.
I love, so of all of the add-ons that you could have for a home gym, I love cables, of course, but that sometimes requires a machine, whatever. But if you have a cage, PRX cage, you put these Halo arms on, you could do
Viking press.
You could do all kinds of lever machine exercises. Now, what are lever machines? Hammer Strength.
Yeah.
Plate loaded machine exercise. You could put a bench on there and you could do a chest press where it comes up to an incline. You could do shoulder presses. You could do one arm rows. Then you could do all the functional stuff like rotation presses or unilateral.
And
they
power
work
pressing with it because it doesn't have that like crazy force like you get.
Yes.
It kind of relieves that a bit, so it's a lot smoother.
Yeah, clean and press on those arms.
Clean and press would be great. Yep. I mean, you could because they're independent. You could do alternating.
They also move laterally and vertically up and down. So
that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that was new. I didn't know it did that.
What I sent to you guys the other day too, I saw this other like lateral raise thing that I saw. It's really cool to see the home gym market explode.
Yep.
I mean, it's like getting super cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Very competitive. I mean,
obviously, what do you love in the gym? We're just going to attach you to the squat rack.
Yes. I mean, it's getting that. I mean, when you look at what PRX is doing right now, I mean,
by the way, I think they're the ones that made this really take off. I think COVID, lots of people had home gym stuff, and then PRX made home gym equipment way more commercial quality, but also take up so little space. So now all these copycats are coming in.
I mean, that's the thing is how little, to me, or at least for me, because there's plenty of like good brands that have been out there for a while, but then your whole garage is dedicated to a gym.
Yep.
And you can't be a car guy and that, because then you want to be able to use your, like if you want to park your car in the garage and still also have a very functional gym, PRX crushes everybody.
Kills it. Yeah. So I can't wait.
Cool.
So you said, are they here?
No, they're on the way. I haven't actually got the boxes yet, but I'm going to be installing.
I can't wait. Oh, because I've been missing because you got that other attachment for like a Viking press, and it's just not the same.
It's just it's
setting
hodgepodge.
It is hodgepodge. You got to set it all up. It's like that right there.
I was disappointed.
And did I see on the video?
You can rack on top of it.
You can still run the squat rack, so you don't even have to take them off.
So you have the arms down and kind of locked, and so you can still put the J hooks there.
So pumped.
Rack. And they can go up and down, right? So you can set them at low angle, high angle.
So pumped for that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do, and also because they move laterally. I mean, you could do all kinds of interesting.
Cool, like a hammer strength chest press.
Experimenting.
Yeah,
on
it'll be
sure.
super. Anyways, so I had a question. I wrote this down. I was gonna ask before because just a random thought the other day, as I was driving. When we all met. You, Adam, you were in the middle of competing. You had left the cannabis industry. And now how long did you, between leaving the cannabis industry and just pursuing, trying to grow something online with fitness, how long of a period was that?
Well, that's a good question.
Was that like a couple of years, a year?
2 years.
Did you work?
Yeah. I've always.
You were still at 24 while you were.
Yeah, I mean,
that, right?
Wait, you went back to 24?
No, I was. So there was a time when I was at 24 running the cannabis clubs and boot camps.
Yeah.
I was doing all three.
Okay.
That's when I started talking.
So then,
when I met you, you were not.
Now,
cannabis.
when you met me, I had left 24 completely, but I was running boot camps and I had the cannabis clubs.
So you were still doing them?
Yeah. Okay. Well, when you and I met, did I still have the clubs?
You got rid of those way before.
I don't think so. I think
maybe
away.
I was gone with the club, but I still. So okay, what I don't know if I've ever made clear on this podcast before is that when I had the falling out with my partners and the cannabis clubs, one of the other ways that I made a lot of money was brokering, and growing. So I taught myself how to grow. Had built out several grow rooms. So I had a warehouse, I had an outdoor grow, I had a couple connoisseur grows, I had people underneath me that I was working. And then I used my relationships that I had built with all the club owners. So I was a part of the first 4 that ever existed in the Bay Area. When I left, when you met me, I knew of the 150 that were built, and I knew all the owners because we used to meet together and we all fight government and all the bullshit that was going on back there. And I had just no different than what you've seen me do in this business. I'm a relationship guy. So I made relationships with all these people, became really good close friends with all of them. And when I decided to get into growing and I was good at it, I would distribute to all those clubs. So I used my connections to all the operators so that I had a place to distribute all my cannabis.
Were you doing any of that right before we all started recording the podcast, or did you stop that?
I had stopped. I still had some brokering deals and relationships because I let that go on for a while, even when I was doing a little bit of Orange Theory, because I had the relationships. And so it was just happening. So it was just happening. Yeah. I had let go of a lot of the personal grows myself that I was doing, but I was still putting people together and making money off of that, because that part is a big deal, right? Like connecting a farmer who has 100 pounds to a cannabis club that needs those. And then back then you could make a lot of money because
they had nowhere else
middling it.
Yes. And that's such a sketch thing that you want people you trust. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's like, so if you could be the middle guy who's just like, yeah, I have a farmer, I've got a club, I can I'll take the responsibility. So I made a lot of money doing that to bridge my time from leaving the clubs. I actually made more doing that than I actually did the clubs, because that's part of the falling out that I had with my partners was I never got paid what was due to me. Like it was a handshake deal that I made with these guys when I did this, and I got screwed out of like the partnership. And instead of being like, oh, poor me, and not like I'm going to go sue these guys, I was like, okay, I'll use what I've created, relationships, to leverage a different business. Then went into the growing thing, did far better doing that. And I did that. But when I was doing that, I knew it was just a bridge to get me back to doing what I wanted to do, which was the fitness thing. So I had started the boot camps. I had been running those. I was running those when we were talking. And then Orange Theory was really when we started talking and we had this like podcast idea. I was like, okay, I could go get a job real quick at a club, but I saw where Orange Theory was going. I knew it had exploded in Florida. I had a connection to the guy who owned them over here. Knew he'd give me a job. And this is not to throw shade on trainers that work at like Orange Theory or anything like that, but it's an entry level type of position for a trainer. I had a lot of confidence that,
and they pay well.
Yeah, and they pay well. Yeah, I was paying like $100 an hour, which was pretty good for a trainer.
And you run their protocol.
Yeah, and it's totally easy, right? It's like that's why it's an entry level, because you don't have to program design, you don't have to write diets. It's like you literally go teach a class. Yeah. So I knew that would be very easy for me to come in and quickly establish myself as an authority in the space. And so very quickly, I was the mayor of the gym, like we always teach trainers to become.
And that's when we met. You were still doing that?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what did you do with your private grows? Were these houses you rented, or how did that work?
So I had one of them in a house that I owned. I had another one with a partner at an outdoor, and then I leased a spot at a warehouse.
And you just got rid of that?
Yeah, I just walked away from them. I handed them over to people that I knew that wanted to still keep them going. Some of them still have the relationships and make money doing all
you know why that's such a great story is because there's two cool things about it. One, your personal story, valuing money because of how you grew up, you get it, and then you're like, this isn't what I thought it would be. And then you left it. Because you left it to work at Orange Theory.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I mean,
because there's a lot of money in that business.
No, and I knew, I had, there was I definitely had, I don't know about you guys when you were young or not, I definitely had a number in my head. Like
if I make this, I'll be happy.
Yes. I knew and I thought I knew what that was when I was really young. And then I realized when I got into real world, when I got in the Bay Area, I was like,
it's a bigger number.
Yeah, it's a much bigger number than what I thought it was.
It has to increase.
Yeah. And so then I went after that and I exceeded it. And when I did, I was the most truly unhappy I'd ever been in my life. If I was being honest with myself. Now I was numbing that for a good year through partying and Vegas and gambling and just taking people places and buying. I was buying stuff every day, like just spending cash all the time and, telling myself this is awesome. And then literally after 2 years of that, I remember I literally looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm in the worst shape of my life. I just had a relationship. The girl had cheated on me. First time that had ever happened where a woman had cheated on me. I had a falling out with one of my best friends. And I was like, dude, I'm miserable. And I have the deepest pockets I've ever had in my life. This is not what I want to do. This is not what I want to be. And I had this like, I really was like, what do I want to do with my life? And I'm like, you know what? I fucking loved fitness. I love helping people. I love doing that. But I remember going, but there's not a lot of money in it. And then I thought, but then I've got money. As long as I take care of this and I'm responsible with it, I don't piss it all away. I should be pretty good financially. Let's go pursue something that I love.
Yeah.
And so it was really easy to go get a job doing Orange Theory and maybe building this thing that we all ended up building because I knew that, which is so ironic.
Isn't that funny?
Because obviously this exceeded any of that stuff
Isn't that funny?
that I ever did.
Isn't that funny?
It is
I know,
crazy.
it's crazy.
It's crazy because
It's crazy.
I don't think, and you say this, right? Like, I don't even think me, who's done it all, could go back and tell young me.
That's the sad part.
I know, that's the unfortunate part.
No way I would have listened to myself.
Yeah.
And I think the thing for the listener, right? That
It makes me think a lot of how would I have listened? What could someone have said?
So you know what resonates with me today when what I hear, and you've all probably heard this before, but I think like looking for this, like truly finding this, like what is the thing that you do when it doesn't matter, you're getting paid and after hours, you're working at it. Like if it's something that it's 10 o'clock at night, you're not going to get paid for it. Nobody knows you're doing it.
But you're thinking about
it. But you're thinking about it. You're reading on it. You're listening to podcasts about it. You're taking notes about
work.
it.
It's just an interest.
You're so interested in it and wanting to get better at it, learn more about it. You're doing it. That's what you need to lean into.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that is. And that is where you're going to find that.
You get lost in it. Yeah.
Yes. Because if you go back and to get here, and you actually divided the hours that I probably put into figuring it all out, I was probably getting paid minimum wage.
Oh, because you were.
Yeah, because I was spending so much time in all of it.
Because you love it.
Yeah, because you love it. But that's the secret. The secret is to find something that if you were doing anything and you punch out and you're done thinking about it, you're in the wrong profession.
Watching the clock.
Yeah, you got to get into something. You got to get into something that, and it doesn't matter if you own it, you could still work for somebody else. Because even when I left like Orange Theory, like why I did so good there and moved up so fast and creative, I was already thinking on how I could improve their club and help them and run systems. I was changing things the way we did. I was disrupting how that place was done because I was like, I wanted to shake that whole.
This is why this is why I love trainers and coaches so much. Like the ones that do this and figure it out, you do it because you love it, and then you make a career doing it. And you're like, this is great.
And do you feel like, I mean, I feel like that, like maybe if someone told me that, like, Adam, pay attention to the things that you do when you have the free time and no one's paying you, and that you actually enjoy learning and growing about and lean into that, maybe that would have helped me.
I always, I'll feel so strongly compelled to do something that I have to do it. And so, thankfully for me, it's always been in this direction. Only one short period of time did I leave. That's when I worked in the bank of all places in investments. And it was the first time in my life that I looked at the clock waiting for lunch and then waiting to go home.
I can't imagine you.
And I could hear the AC in the background, and I'm wearing a suit.
It's so brutal.
And I'm just like, dude, this is terrible. Like a day here is like a year in a gym. In terms of how slow the time.
When I first
that was me doing sports marketing and then also construction, both of those. And the thing is, I love construction in terms of like the novelty of building, and like I love building things, but I did not. It was just such a grind, and it was just one of those things like. By
Plus,
the
they
end of
take
the
out
day,
the creative component because
there's no creativity. Everything is so regimented, scheduled, and then everything's behind, and like it just was just again, it's probably who you work for too, like plays a factor to that, because I probably would have enjoyed it more if it was like I was doing something really cool and creative with the builds. But I just was like, this is just not for me, dude.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 20 and I came into 24-hour fitness. And when I think about it now, I was like, that's so crazy. Like there, it was, the answer was right in front of me. It's like, I was inside that gym. I got a job at the gym that was across the street from my grandmother's condo where I lived. And I was in there 7 days a week, every day.
Oh, you couldn't kick me out.
And I would stay. So let's say I trained my last client at 8 or 9 o'clock. I'd stay till 11 p.m. at night.
I loved it.
Talking to the other trainers, teaching them things, asking the sales guys to show me presentation. I just hung out there all day. If I went home to my grandma's house, and had lunch and maybe watched a show for 30 minutes, I get bored. I'm like, I go back to the gym.
Yep.
Yeah.
And go hang out.
That's where all my friends are.
I just I loved being around there so much. And I wasn't going like, oh, I'm not making any money right now. I never once thought of it like that. I just liked being in that environment. And to me, that's when you find that,
it's invigorating. It fills you with a type of energy that you can't get from anything else. I was the same way. I lived in that gym all the time. Loved it all the time. It didn't matter if I was getting paid or not. I would have been in there.
Yeah.
You find that, then lean into that, and you will figure out a way to build a career around that.
I have a shout out. I meant to tell you guys. I mean, I sent it over to Sal, this guy.
Oh, yeah, he's cool.
He is cool. I saw him pop up on my buddy Chris.
He was Chris Williamson's podcast. He was also on Tucker Carlson.
So I didn't know that. You said that.
Yeah.
So he was on Tucker Carlson, and his Instagram handle, he's got a podcast. I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but he's got great short content. Dry Creek Wrangler. Or Dry Creek DE Wayne. This is his Instagram handle. So Doug, it's all one word. Dry Creek DE Wayne, one word. Some cool content. And it sounds like his demographic helping young men, like with masculinity and good leadership and followers. A lot of the content.
He's got good Christian content too. He likes to quote that.
Yeah. Really, really, really good stuff. Different, but cool. I mean, I'm like totally following it into it right now.
The future of skincare is here. These are stem cells that you put on your skin. One of the first products you can find in the US, by the way, this is from Japan. You can get this now for your face and your skin. Again, this is the future. Go check it out. Go to mpeterna.com. That's MPETERNA.com. And you'll get a special offer with that link, but you have to use the code MindPump10. So that's MindPump10. You'll get 10% off. All right, back to the show.
Our first caller is Donna from California.
Donna, what's happening?
How you doing, Donna?
How are you?
Hi. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. How can we help you?
If it's okay with you, I'll just read what I asked because I'm better at reading than I am at talking.
Yeah, go for it.
Same.
So,
Adam's the opposite.
first and foremost, thank you for all of your content. It's a big topic of conversation between my husband and I. We both obsessively listen, and especially mixing in real life and kids and family and all that as well.
That's awesome.
So I am 32 years old. I'm 6 feet. I'm about 180 pounds right now, 19 to 20% body fat, at least when I submitted this. I've been lifting heavy for about 15 years. I played D1 volleyball and continued to lift until I had my first baby 3.5 years ago. After graduating college, I just kind of threw my competitiveness into like the gym, getting stronger, CrossFit, ultimately peaking at like a 295 squat, which I was really proud of. I returned to my pre-pregnancy weight within 9 months and ran my first ever half marathon almost exactly like 1 year from the date of being cleared from my C-section. So I'm still lifting about 4 or 5 days a week now, a little bit less with an injury I'm working with. And I'm proud of what I've accomplished in terms of like strength, but I'm kind of paying for the consequences. I trashed my body. I have a herniated disc, arthritis in my SJI joints, and a left hip labrum tear. My 3-year-old is kind of running laps around me, so my priority is shifting from just numbers on the bar to just like feeling better and feeling strong for work and just life in general. When I submitted my question, I was looking to avoid hip surgery, but ultimately my doctor recommended a hip labrum surgery, so I'm having that on Tuesday. So my main question is really just how do I find any like joy and competitiveness in mobility and recovery? Because it's just, I just don't like it. And then what is the best path following surgery to just get stronger again without one, rushing into things or re-hurting myself?
Yeah, great question.
Yep.
And you're obviously a badass. So so leading up to the surgery, you've done a great job, right? You're fit, you've got muscle, you've got great muscle memory. You've been an athlete for much of your life. You're going to do great. You're going to bounce back very quickly. The challenge you're going to run into is going too quickly post-surgery. In fact, your body's going to tell you to go faster than you probably should because you've got such great muscle memory that you're just gonna be like, oh my God, I want to go for it. Physical therapy is going to be your friend. Okay. So I would really listen to the therapist. And then if you can extend physical therapy beyond what your insurance will cover, I would do that and work with like a good correctional exercise specialist. If it's your PT, that's great. If it's not, find somebody who does good correctional exercise and work with them beyond what you think you should, because that's going to set you up for the rest of your life. In my experience, especially with ex-athletes, especially people like you do not represent the average person. The mistake that they all make is they just jump too quickly. They get too quick, too fast, and then the effects of the surgery can actually set you back because of re-injuring yourself. You don't want to do that. You want to set yourself up real well. So work with the PT as long as you can. Then when you get back into strength training, start really slow, MAP starter. And then after that, MAP symmetry. MAP symmetry would be a great program, but this is post-therapy, post-MAP starter. You're going to be bored. Just deal with it, because if you do it right, for the rest of your life, you're going to be kicking ass. If you don't, you're going to you could potentially set yourself, and I've seen this so many times with people like you where they jump back in too quickly, and then they're just now dealing with another chronic issue for a long time.
So I agree with Sal. MAP starter, MAP symmetry, and then you can get your MAPS muscle mommy. I do think that Prime Pro would also benefit you. Donna, you wouldn't happen to be following the series that I'm doing on YouTube, are you?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so you should definitely check that out. Considering I've injured myself 3 times in the last 3 months, a big portion of that is me communicating how to come back from an injury. The last episode I just did was 100% centered around rehab training and how to do it properly, and how if you get a really good PT, then hopefully you'll get this communicated to you. But unfortunately, just like trainers in any other profession, there's a lot of shitty ones too. And if they don't communicate to you the importance of laying a really good foundation in movement when you're rehabbing, it could really set you up for later chronic pain. I communicate all of this in that series. So you can literally watch me talk about even the challenges too of wanting to do more, because I have that competitive side to me. And so I think you would benefit a lot just from watching that series that I'm doing right now. And then the path that Sal said is the path I would follow as far as the programming.
I think too, just, something I noticed, and I'm sure you noticed too, Adam, with going through that and like having Kyle there to sort of like coach. Like, I know how long has it been? Have you ever had like a personal trainer or a coach actually take you through workouts, take you through the movements? I know you're an athlete and you can, run your own workouts. It's a totally different experience when you have somebody there, kind of, especially if it's in an area like mobility where it's like, oh my God, I'm so bored. I don't get a lot out of it. Like, you're not going to get a lot out of it unless all of your intention is correct. And when you're going through those movements, really squeezing and maximizing the potential of those movements. And so to kind of get your mindset in the right place, I think it'd be really beneficial for you to look at like having somebody there to at least take you through a few weeks or so to kind of lay that out for you.
At the bare minimum, watch that series, because this is what you'll see this with me. I brought our head trainer here, Kyle, to be that for me. Even though I have the knowledge, I know what I'm doing. I even know how to bring the right intent. Having another professional pair of eyes watching my movement, critiquing me and telling me. And then you can see me breaking a sweat from these movements.
There's 2 things that are going to work for you or work against you. One, so we'll start with the first one. Because of your background, you can be very disciplined. You can push yourself. You have it. You have the ability to go and push yourself beyond pain that normally would stop people. Now that can work for you if you apply it in the right way, but it can also harm you if you apply it in the wrong way. So that's the first thing. The second thing is muscles bounce back so much faster than the joints and the tendons and the ligaments. Okay. Now that can work for you because you got this great muscle memory. Your muscle strength is going to come back quickly, but it'll work against you if you judge your progress and how hard you should go based off of your muscle and not based off of your joints, your ligaments, and your tendons. And the problem is your joints, tendons, and ligaments don't talk to you the same way your muscles do. When your joints talk to you, it's already too late. Oop, that hurt. Now you're injured. Versus your muscles, where you're like, okay, I think I'm going a little too hard type of deal. So what's going to happen is you're going to get into it and you're like, man, I could do way more. I could push myself way more. I feel stronger. Back off. Just back off. If you do this right, you're going to set yourself up so well. But again, the only way you're going to mess up is if you go too fast, too quickly, too soon. So you're better off going slower than you should, than going, of course, faster than you should. So just keep that in mind. That's why I said working with a physical therapist and a correctional exercise specialist is going to be paramount, because they'll know. Because if you try and judge it based off of your own experience, I guarantee you're going to go too fast.
Yeah, I guess like the light at the end of the tunnel with this is you got the opportunity to really iron out a lot of kinks in your training, in your body, and really establish a more secure, stabilized, better functioning body that you're going to actually be able to build upon and improve and go past and surpass where you were performance-wise before. And your potential is going to increase if you do it the right way. Now, so if you can keep that in mind as you're going through, this is really like an opportunity for you to maximize.
Now, Donna, the other thing too is you can add, and this was not available to people like it is now, but if you go to mphormones.com, you can work with peptides now that will accelerate the healing process significantly. Things like BPC 157 or thymosin beta, they can actually make a really big difference in your rehab.
Huge.
And this is something that, again, was not available to people before. And this is also for your joints healing process, not just your, like the surgical healing process, not just muscle. So you can go there, you could talk to them, say, hey, I'm getting surgery on this date. When can I, do I qualify, and when do I use peptides for accelerated healing? And then they'll put you on a protocol. Combine that with correctional exercise, and you'll be like, before you know it, you'll be good.
And Donna, every single thing that we just talked about, I talk about in this series. Everything from the peptides to the recovery to going too fast because my muscles recover fast, and then hurting myself. Like all of this stuff is like communicated in that series, and you can literally watch me step by, and you can watch me make the mistakes too and talk about it. So I make mistakes along the way and communicate it and what to watch out for. I think it'll really serve you to watch. It's on Mind Pump TV. So if you go to our Mind Pump TV YouTube channel, it's the last 20 videos.
We'll send you Map Starter, and then I'll make sure Doug in the email puts the link for the peptides. But
okay.
Yeah, you do that, you're going to be good.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Donna.
Yeah,
good
you
luck.
got
All
it.
right, best of
Thank
luck
you.
to you.
Thank you.
They're like the super athlete couple. Did you see the picture?
You see how tall he was?
Yeah.
She's 6 foot, so he must be 6'5".
At least, yeah.
Or something like that, right?
Yeah, NBA kid coming.
Super strong. That's the thing. I've worked with so many people.
And, dude, you know how crazy that is? A 6 foot girl.
Yeah, 300-pound squat.
300-pound squat.
That's crazy.
A 300-pound squat is hell of impressive.
That's good for a 6 foot dude.
Yes, for a 6 foot girl to do that, long.
Well, she was D1 volleyball. Like women's volleyball at that level is so competitive. That's like pre-Olympic. That's how good they are.
But you said it. That's also going to be her Achilles heel.
Totally, bro.
Because
look, all of us in here have had an injury and come back, and because we've got that background, we went too fast and hurt ourselves
every
again.
time. It's too fast.
Every time, every single time. So it's literally you have to go so slow that you're bored.
Yeah.
But then you won't re-injure yourself.
I hope she watches the series, because this is like this has been the whole journey for me, is coming back from an injury, making these mistakes, everything to the peptide stuff, to the rehab stuff, to the mindset going into it. So she'll really benefit from it if she does.
Our next caller is Amy from Iowa.
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
How can we help you?
Oh my gosh. Hi guys.
How are you doing?
This is a bit surreal. This is super cool. So just a little bit about why this is so cool. I just made a big jump in my career, and I feel like this is like God blessing exactly where I'm at. So thank you guys for having me on. This means a lot to me. This is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
What do we got?
Yeah. So I have a couple questions for you. I feel like if you know a little bit about the background of how my business started, because it's super unique, that might help answer my questions, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So I started personal training out of a necessity, really, and also like a desire to not change diapers. So I was a school teacher, and I had 2 babies, and all of my money was going to daycare, and that seemed ridiculous. So I started an in-home daycare. I love to work out. I didn't have a lot of time to do it. And I saw a lot of people that had kids that didn't seem to have a lot of time. So during nap times, I studied to become a personal trainer. And then I started, that's what's called like Workouts That Work with Amy. It was this tiny little business, and I would go into people's homes and I would train them for super cheap because, let's be real, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I needed a lot of experience. But that model, although it exposed me to like so many people in a really cool way, and a real variety of people, it became a problem because I'm a female going into people's homes, and like men wanting me to train them in their homes felt a little unsafe, to be honest. So that model didn't make a lot of sense. At the same time, though, this is like 2012-ish, I fell in love with CrossFit because I was trying to learn how to weight lift. So the Olympic lifting, the powerlifting kind of fed that piece of me that wanted to learn that. And within like 3-4 weeks of doing CrossFit at this gym, the coach was like, hey, like, you know what you're doing. Do you want to be a coach? So I kind of faded away from personal training, got into coaching CrossFit, and then realized like I had a real gift for leadership. And also I had this like ownership mentality with other people's business. And I just wanted to constantly learn more about business. So I actually started running CrossFit gyms for owners. And so I would run gyms, I would do coaching, and then I would do personal training on the side. So I developed this kind of larger client base, if you will, but also while doing all the budgeting, all the hiring, a lot of the coaching, like all the things. So then with the help of my husband, who was amazing, supporting me, a lot of prayer, and just leaning into like God's voice, I decided like 5 months ago, guys, or maybe it's been like 6, to just do it all on my own. So take the salary away and like buy into BA Fitness is what we call it, LLC, and just hope that it worked, right? And put all my knowledge that I had of running other people's business into mine. Right now, I have 28 clients. I train out of my home gym. So I would say I feel very blessed. I'm going to be running in, January, 2 fitness classes in the community in the evenings. And then I have some online clients as well. I just got my nutrition certification. I'm looking for a pre-postnatal certification to get finished with that soon. And I also am like trauma-informed personal trainer. So that's kind of like the background of where I'm at. It's pretty unique, I think. So my question for you guys, because you have so much experience and you're so knowledgeable, like I don't want to limit you here, but like maybe 3 to 5 of your top ways and resources that you have to stay just super relevant and also like on top of the needs of a diverse client base, because I've got it kind of all.
Are you in our coaching course?
I'm not.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's the first place you got to start right away, because not only is it full of great information pertaining to scaling and building a business. Like, we did not go to compete with NASM or NCSF. Our goal was to fill the gap that they don't provide. They put all of their energy and focus on nutrition, program design, exercise science. We put all of our energy into how to take that trainer and teach them how to build a successful online and in-person business. So, and on top of that, that is constantly evolving. It's got a private community where we're in there and helping and develop. So
in that private community, we tap into our connections with leaders in the industry that will come in and teach. Yeah. So
we seek out relevant people.
Sure. So you'll have people come in and teach about menopause and how to train, experts, right? Experts on peptides, experts on, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really, really great place to start. By the way, you're kicking ass. I want to let you know that you're like totally crushing.
The first thing that comes to mind to me without even seeing any numbers is raise your prices. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you have a lot.
Yeah, well, that's funny you say that.
Yeah, that's the first thing. I obviously
January 2025.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, good. Typically somebody who has got this big of a client portfolio already is doing all the things you're doing. You've obviously proven you're good at what you do. People like training with you, so you're doing a good job. It's very obvious to me. I'd be raising my prices, knowing that I might lose a client or two because they can't afford it. That's part of the game. Mm-hmm. But you have enough demand that you should probably be, and I don't know what you're charging, but I bet you need to charge
like you're
more.
Squeezing your potential right now. So yeah,
you're at that place, right? Not every trainer gets there, but the really good ones like you've obviously done a great job. You're at the place now where you can really hammer down on value and increase price. That way, you're not training and working so much. I bet you probably even have a wait list, which is a clear indication that your prices are too low for the service that you're providing. So I would get more focused on value, like, really on each client, and really raise the prices, reduce your workload so that you can, offer more value and just not, burn yourself out with the amount of work that you're doing, because you're doing already so much. The other thing it would be I don't know if you already do this, Amy, but I would partner with local service providers that can complement what I do. So like I would find bodywork specialists, acupuncturists, functional medicine practitioner, a hormone doctor,
and food service. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I would find really, really good ones around me that I could work with, and you don't even have to set up a business deal with them. These are just people that you initially just refer to.
Referrals, yeah.
You just send to them, and you literally approach them and say, hey, look, I'm looking for people that I can trust, that I can send my clients to, who may need these services. And I wouldn't even ask for anything in return. I would build that relationship, and then in return, what will end up happening is you're going to end up getting referrals from them, especially if you're that higher, that lower volume, higher value, higher service, higher cost service provider. And then from an education standpoint, NASM is exceptional, and they tend to stay on the forefront when it comes to, different courses and stuff like that. But you sound very educated. So I don't necessarily think that that's a challenge for you.
You're at she's at an inflection point of the business. Like you're doing really well. This is where a lot of trainers have a hard. It's one thing to build. It's very difficult.
Like you've reached that. You've done that first hard part.
It's very difficult to build a successful 6-figure business. You've already obviously proven that. If you're not, you're probably pretty close to that. Making it to 7 is the big leap. It's really hard to scale beyond that, and that's where a lot of what we focus on with the trainers in there. Right now the enrollment, we just closed it, but I'm going to have Ann email you personally and put together something special for you, because you're literally the perfect client that we help out right now. So that this is right in our wheelhouse of what we're doing on the trainer side. And I think you're already doing a phenomenal job with us kind of diving into the business and helping you out a little bit. I think that we could really take it to the next level.
And Amy, in the course too, and I'll just give you like a quick kind of surface breakdown, but do you, let me ask you this first. Do you charge like per session? Do you sell packages of sessions?
I sell packages. Yep. And 10, 20, and 30.
Okay. So just one place to consider, and Justin was excellent at this, and had I really been privy to this, I would have done this as well, is charging a monthly fee for access to you. And it's just the next level model where you can provide incredible service and people are just paying you for access. So it's like X amount per month, and they have, they can work with you guaranteed 3 days a week, but it's up to them. If they don't, they still pay it, type of deal. But because it reduces your client load, like you're more available, and these people are essentially paying for access and service, and it's just one place to consider. And that's for someone like you who's already done a great job with the traditional model.
It ups the accountability and also provides more predictive income that you can rely on. So I love that model, especially since you're going more high end.
That's a small, easy tweak you can do already. The big opportunity is in the online space with you.
For sure.
Yep.
You've already figured out how to get clients in front of you and doing a good job there. We can make some tweaks with stuff like that, but the real opportunity for you is how to take your business online virtually, and then how to do something that's more scalable, that can scale beyond yourself.
Your session rates, where would you rate your per session rate in comparison to the other trainers and coaches in your area? Would you say you're in the middle, at the top, at the bottom?
I'm slightly higher. Yeah, slightly higher.
Slightly higher than the middle?
Not by much.
Yeah.
I would say most box gyms in Iowa in the surrounding area are charging between like $55 and $60 an hour, and I'm a little higher than that.
And okay, wait. So you're in Iowa right now. Okay. So 55 to 60 big box gym, but they're coming to your home, getting private one-on-one. And what are you averaging?
I'm closer to like 65, 70.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, if you have that many clients, you're doing as much as you are, and you're $5 more. No. You need to be like $30 more, like $20, $30 at least. That's where your price range should be for what they're getting. That's why you're so busy. You're doing it. You're way better than those trainers.
This is all good stuff, Amy.
This is a great place to be.
I'm going to have Ann send this over to you, and then as soon as you get in that private forum, I want you to tag me so I know you're in there, and then we'll start the conversations going. And then look forward to helping you. You're going to be a fun
you're doing great
trainer to continue to scale and help out. You're kicking ass.
I feel like my clients right now are all gulping, and my husband's going, yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, Amy.
Can I ask?
Nudge.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got one more question because you hit on it, and I'm so glad that you did. Okay, I'm going to be 44 in like less than 2 months, man. And technology and me are like slowly becoming friends, but I am not gifted in that area. And I also have this feeling when I do online that it's not personal, and I really thrive one-on-one with people. I love the touch points. I like to see people, read the room kind of thing. And you can't do that with online programming. So like, is there a way to elevate my business, bring in an online platform, but make it personal somehow?
100%.
Or feel good to me?
100%. Now, this is the type of stuff that we talk
break
about.
that down.
This is the type of stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
This is about finding your voice, right?
Yeah.
Finding your voice, being authentic to who you are. Yeah. And let me tell you, you're looking at 3 tech idiots that figured it out.
Also,
so
Amy,
this is not our wheelhouse whatsoever. We were great trainers. That's what we were really good at.
And I identify
part
with everything you just said. I identify. I don't like.
And we live in Silicon Valley.
I don't like working with people virtually either. I'd rather. So you can use the online space to support what you do best, which is in person. So you don't have to become an online coach and just train people online. If that's not your passion, then don't do it. There's a ton of value in training people in person. You just use it to support what you're already doing. That's all.
Okay.
All right, Amy.
That makes sense.
I hope to see you in there by tomorrow.
I'll be in there.
Tag us.
All right, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Great problem.
Yeah.
Great problem to have.
She's in a good place.
Most trainers struggle to get where she's at.
She did the hardest part.
When you get there, it's very hard. And I can tell you that one of the struggles,
a whole other throttle you got to find once you're there.
One of the challenges too for trainers, which we didn't talk about, she's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna have some clients. I'm gonna have to tell some clients they can't train with me." Yeah. And I get that. I totally get that. But the next level for her is she's got to charge more for sure. Otherwise, she's limited on her time. By the way, we are running a sale this month on some workout programs. MAPS Aesthetic and MAPS Symmetry, both very popular programs, both 50% off. If you're interested, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com, but use the code December50 for the discount. All right, here comes the show.
Our next caller is Daniel from Massachusetts.
Daniel, what's up, man?
What's going on, Danny?
How can we help you?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Doing good. How are you?
Good.
How can we help you?
So my question is, I'm 37 years old. I've been lifting on and off for a few years now. I've really just gotten into lifting consistently within the past 3 months. I lift 5 to 6 times per week. I've been cutting for 2 months. I was losing about 1 pound a week, ½ inch off my waist per week. I'm 6'4", 249 pounds. Right now I'm about 23% body fat. My long-term goal is to get somewhere below 15%, but right now I want to add muscle before I start cutting those calories. During my cut, I was eating about 2,200 calories. Right now I just went up to about 3,500 to 3,700 calories. I know a lot of what I hear and see says about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I know you guys usually say 1 pound for your goal weight. Right now, when I'm eating this many calories, my protein really skyrockets, and I'm 300 to 325 grams every single day. Is this a problem? I know it's probably better to hit that number rather than come short of it, but I usually focus on eating things like chicken, eggs, lentils, oatmeal, not really junk food, but I don't know if I need to change my eating habits or if I should just kind of keep doing what I'm doing.
How's your digestion and stool? Are you all right?
Everything's great.
You're good, bro.
Yeah, you're fine.
You're fine.
Yeah, I do have a question. Did you just jump from 22 to 35, 37, or did you slowly reverse diet yourself?
I reverse dieted.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine, dude.
Hey, you're doing good.
The only time I'll tell somebody it's too much is like Adam said, if you start to have digestive issues, or if you're starting to suffer, or you could benefit from trading some of those calories for carbs and fats. But with as many calories as you're consuming, you're left with a decent amount of calories for carbs and fats. And I'm looking at what your macros are. You're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
You're also in such a good place. You're also in such a good place that if you stay consistent like you are diet-wise like this, and you really focus on good programming, get strong, you might see this great leaning out while you build muscle process. Like, so that's what we should see.
Yeah.
What are you following right now? Are you following one of the MAPS programs?
No, I'm not. I kind of follow my own program. I don't follow any of your guys' programs, so I'm kind of just doing my own thing.
Let's solve that, because that'll make a difference.
That's gonna make a huge difference, dude.
What? Tell me a little bit about like your kind of, how many days a week are you training? Is it a split? Is it a full body? Okay, 5 to 6 times a week. I just saw it. It's
a split. You know, I do shoulders once, arms once, legs, back.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna help you out here. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on MAPS anabolic, and follow it to a T. Okay. Hopefully Daniel, you trust us, and you
do the 3-day a week version,
and do the
full bodies can be different.
Yeah, it's gonna be different.
Right.
You're gonna get strong as hell.
It's only 3 days a week in the gym. So if you still go to the gym 5 to 6 days, love it. Just go for a walk for an hour instead. Okay. So on the days that you're not following the MAPS program and you want to go to the gym,
just go walk on the treadmill.
I'm all about it. Just walk for an hour. I love that. Or do some mobility, trigger sessions, but follow the program to a T. Keep the diet where it's currently at right now. Check back with me in like 30 to 60 days. I can't wait to hear what you're seeing already and how you're feeling.
You're going to get so strong.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to send MAPS Anabolic over to you right now.
Great. Appreciate that, guys.
Hey, promise me to follow up, because I want to hear how this goes for you. I have a feeling you're going to see some really
no, definitely. I'm looking forward. Like you said, that's kind of what I'm doing. You know, ultimately I want to lean out, but I think right now I probably at a spot where I can do a little bit of both, and then I'll start cutting and just completely lean.
I think you're going to do both.
Yeah, you got a physique under there, dude.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what this does right here. You're in a great spot right now, dude. So follow the program, trust it as it's laid out. When you feel like you want to do more because you can do more, don't do more. Trust us and just follow the way it's laid out, and then check back in about 30, 60 days with me.
Awesome. Definitely will. I appreciate it. I'm excited myself.
All right, brother.
He's going
to blow up.
He's going to just
in a good way.
Bro, body part split like one time a week.
Not even a good split.
Yeah, no. So it's going to be on. It's going to be.
He's going to get so strong.
And now he's feeding himself.
He's reverse dieted great for a guy his size.
Yeah. He's going to do well.
Yeah, he's going to get leaner and build muscle at the same time. This will be a good time.
Well. Yeah, he's going to get his goal.
All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat. For men, this is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.